Cobalt, our first map. So very cool to see some of these new maps.
Cobb Alt, my friends. Okay, let's go to game 1 on our 4-player map. Hurricane versus Ragnarok.
Did you say Cobb Alt?
Cobb Alt.
Well, that would be ear.
Oh.
Hurricane. Storm Gaming, Ragnarok.
Whoa. Big support for Ragnarok here. There were people cheering for Hurricane, though.
Yeah.
Don't feel bad. Don't be sad.
All right. Well,
We have like every symbol here.
There's
nuclear waste here. Don't do this.
Yeah.
Also, don't do this. Nuclear waste here.
It doesn't seem like every symbol, but 2 symbols everywhere.
I thought we might see some more.
Yeah.
We actually had the repair symbol earlier, but I missed it.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh,
there it is. There it is. You can repair over here, but there's nuclear waste over there.
Can you land anything there? I don't think so, right?
Over here, there's an alarm going off. Don't expand here. Do not expand here. That's what that symbol means. Oh, you rebel.
Mistakes. This is so funny. 4-player maps.
Yep.
I'm all for 4-player maps, by the way.
I think
really
as
wanna
long
see
as we
more of
keep
it.
mixing it up with maps, we're going to be in good shape.
Yeah. We don't need any more maps that look like Ohana, that's for sure.
Which means friendship or family. Sorry, I messed the meme up.
You are on top of the memes.
Oh, man.
Meme lord
Yeah.
tasteless here.
Now, as the game goes on here, what kind of tech are we going to have? We're going to go into Robo, get a timing attack? Are we going to have something older, like Stargate, get a couple
Yeah.
oracles out here?
I think you gotta go Stargate. Like,
Yeah?
no, I guess he's not. He's getting his warp gate right away, so unsure. I think that, like, the map is pretty big. The map is pretty long. I don't feel like a timing attack is as likely to work. Yeah, something like this makes sense though. Just Insta Twilight. This could be the DT-based Archon drop, or it could be like a Glaives or Charge all-in. I think both those are all right.
The Overlord's coming in now. Let's see if it scouts that.
Yeah, something like...
Did he see it? Did he see it? He
my
did
gosh,
not.
He did not. It's crazy.
Damn, you know.
Yeah. Something like an Immortal Push, though. The problem I have with Immortal Push is, like, you're making your mortals and you're walking them across this long map. You know?
Yeah.
Oh, so maybe a DT-based Archon drop, then? Yeah. There we go.
Now, it's an older style. That doesn't mean it's bad or it's obsolete. It's just something that we've definitely seen a good amount of.
I think it's actually pretty decent right now.
No, yeah, I think it's perfectly fine. I think there's a reason why it's still being used here. And so you can have it where you try to spring the DTs on them and get some quick damage that way. But you also have the option to just go into Archons.
Yeah.
You know, if you've watched GSL's past, you've heard this before. But, you know, the Archon drop is definitely something that is a really strong way to play the game. By the way, Zealot Legs coming here as well. If you're to do an Archon drop, Archons are almost entirely shields. Warp Prism pickup distance is huge. And it's not the hardest thing to do to fly around with a Warp Prism, shave off Zerg units, and as long as you don't lose the Archons or the Warp Prism, you've lost nothing.
Yeah. We've seen some real cost efficiency with that.
But I think Zerg players have really adapted to this. They've gotten much better than we've seen in the past about trying to hold off certain attacks, especially ones like this. But build order randomization, if you're going to go big picture, it's important that you're not doing the same thing every time, or people will simply counter you. You can experience this on the ladder when you encounter the same guy and he really only has one trick, and you keep seeing him do the same thing, and after a couple games, you're never going to lose to that guy again because he can't mix it up. It's even more pronounced in best of threes and tournament plays, especially if you're a prominent enough pro gamer that your games are out there and studied. So I think it's a good idea to bring a build like this, at least to start things off. And here come the 2 DTs now.
Look at that, going after the Spore immediately after a couple drone kills.
Yeah, and the Spore
that's
actually
so
goes
annoying.
down, so he can get several more drones. Now the Overseer's going to come up. In fact, can he even get the Queen here? No, probably not. That's
quite.
too ambitious.
But it's good damage. Look at this,
Yeah.
between the 2 Adepts and these 2 DTs, it's a Spore kill, a few Lings, and 11 drones.
Yeah,
Really, really
and
good.
it went unpunished. So he's going to warp in a few more units here. We're going to turn this into an Archon. And this is where, okay, so the initial damage has been done. Now comes the follow-up push. Zerg's put in a position where they need to rebuild economically from their losses. If they were to keep making an army, Protoss should outpace them, especially if you have that many workers killed. So this is where Protoss continues the harass, but there is going to be a push, which is an attempt to throw the Zerg off of the balancing act.
Some Immortals are being made here. Oh, look at that. The Zealots actually do go down and engage some Lings.
This is really cute. It's like he kind of has some Zealots out there to fight in the front, but then he kind of has some Warpins over here.
Yeah.
And
The
it
Zealots
seems
tank
like
really well.
it's really spreading the Protoss too thin. Now, of course, oh! He does not manage to keep the Archon alive. One is alive, but like barely. Go, 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 go. And so the harass is going to end, but that was an unusual split with armies in that harass.
Yeah.
Now, Zerg survives it. The question now is Ragnarok back on his feet? Are there going to be other opportunities? Because I said it was going to be a follow-up push to do more damage. It's not. It's actually a third base. He's going to play much more conservatively.
Well, there is definitely a follow-up push coming when you open up with the
Just not on 2
DT Archon
bases.
drop. Yeah. A lot of times, I think what the strongest follow-up is to make a lot of Immortals, Archons charge lots, and your third base, and then just move out again.
Yeah.
And just like keep pressure on your opponent, because this is a build where it's a little bit harder to get into Psy Storm cleanly. So keeping the pressure on your opponent is good.
And a lot of that's because it was a DT tech to get the Archons out.
Yeah. You already kind of have the
DT
Archon tech, and to spend even more gas to get the high Templar attack
The
is
DT tech is kind of a quick shortcut to get Archons.
Yeah, it is.
Where you're getting something early on, which is like kind of cheaper Archons, but you're also giving up late game tech, which is DTs. And so in this case, the follow-up push is the most sensible one. So it's going to be 3 bases. I thought it was going to be 2 for some reason. But
well, it's mostly I mean, it's mostly a placeholder Nexus. It's not fully saturated or anything.
It's like you're taking it not for like, oh well, now I
he'll keep playing.
Expand. You just
this is definitely not all in. Like,
well,
might turn
a lot
around.
of games are won when you did so much damage, but they barely survived. But you did so much damage with your third base, you just kind of take a lead from there.
Yeah. Some very good force fields going down. He actually clears quite a few roaches there. We saw him losing Archon, take a couple Biles here, losing some of his sentries. A couple Biles actually end up connecting.
Landing right on the Immortals, but I think this is too much damage. We're starting to see too many Archons, too many Immortals, and not enough anything Zerg here. He can actually edge his way into the third base. Can he actually snipe down the Warp Prism? Here we go!
Wow!
Oh, it lives!
Wow! He had to
the
commit
balls.
so hard because it was a beautiful
still
warp
warps in
warp
right
location.
there. GG, Hurricane
My
takes
God.
game 1. Crazy.
It was a great, I didn't even realize for a second there, he had to get so close because it was over the smoke, so you just could not see it.
Oh, I didn't notice that. Good call.
Yeah, so he actually super committed to kill it, didn't get it, and that's GG.
Look at that face on Ragnarok. That's
Yeah, it's a frustrating one to just die to the follow-up push.
yeah.
I mean, Hurricane played it very, very well. It seems like if you just do straight Immortal pushes, Ragnarok has your number a bit, but some of these harassment into it, that does a little bit more to conceal exactly when you're moving out, exactly the strength of your army. He's having a bit of a harder time there.
We're going to go to New Repugnancy for game number 2. Now, Hurricane opened up with a little bit of an older style. Obviously, it's still viable. DT dropped, killed about 11 drones. I think it was exactly 11, actually. And then went into Archon harass. It wasn't the best Archon harass, but it also didn't matter that much because already that initial attack had done so much. Then he wins with a push. Let's see what he does in game number 2. Ragnarok showing very solid late game style. If he can get to that late game, he might be a real threat to Hurricane.
Hurricane. Storm Gaming, Ragnarok.
Cool.
Cool. So the probes blocked the second hatchery. So the second hatch goes to where the third hatch normally is. Common way to just sort of take some control early on.
It's very
in the
annoying
game.
for Zerg.
Yeah. I don't know if there's going to be some kind of attack to pair with this. I know that adepts early on were exploited for situations like this where your creep's not quite defended, but I feel like Zergs, especially in 2019, are much better at handling adepts. Mm-hmm. The adept was sort of this unit that was great for comedy in RTS when it first came out because there was no unit that moved like that in RTS. So
yeah, it was
like
very novel.
On both sides, players were struggling with it. You'd see some players shade their adepts into corners and they get stuck and killed, and then other times Zerg couldn't split correctly. So there was this whole learning process for all the pros involved of trying to kind of get a handle on it. But also the adept was stronger. Blizzard patched it after a while. But
yeah, it got a few nerfs.
Yeah, because it was actually...
It was pretty crazy.
It was pretty hilarious.
They were just making it and killing people.
I remember casting a game of the one game I thought someone was going to survive in an adept harass, and it was Morrow, and he was playing like the game of his life, holding these adepts everywhere. And I said, okay, he did it. It's done. We're going to go into mid-game. And then like 50 adepts shade up. As I'm saying it, I start laughing.
Yeah.
As I'm like, okay, never mind. Couldn't believe it.
Remember that.
But yeah, it's a different time now. There is a robo being made, though, so that should telegraph some kind of a timing attack here.
Yeah, it looks like just straight up an immortal push should be coming. Oh, extra lings being made. I was wondering, like, what are
the Korean commentators are going nuts, and I'm like, yeah, I see the robo. But
I'm like, yeah, he's chasing the probe with the lings. It's cool. Oh, he can't quite get in. Good try.
Good job. He needs to get this wall in, though. Speedlings are a real threat.
A lot of
Speedlings are also, uncommon at this level of play to try to just go for it. But, if the wall-in's not up, there's a reason why you see Protoss wall-in early, guys, is they're actually pretty frail early on. And if they're not here to defend...
That gate's going to go up in like a second, though.
He needs to... Okay.
He can bust the gate, though. He has enough lings.
Yeah, it hasn't gained enough HP in the warp in.
Those 6 lings, I'm not sure if those are enough. But.
Okay, so this is a funny little timing attack. Yeah, this is designed... Oh, my God, he did it. How funny.
Well, it seems like he wanted to let him in. Oh, what? Probes are actually doing quite a good job blocking here. You know what? I think that this was a very clutch call from Hurricane.
Yeah. No, you are totally correct in your analysis there, Artosis. He wanted to let that in because that way the lings get wedged over there, and then he can fill it with a battery. Oh my God, Hurricane is so good.
That was really
when you win
well
like
done.
this on the ladder, this is like the ultimate moment where you go, yeah, I'm just better than you.
Yeah.
Get out. What league are you in? But the rush isn't done yet. More lings are coming.
Yeah,
Can we have, how good of a Tetris player is Hurricane here? How much can he block off with this? Because lings are not going to stop coming here. Force field then.
Force field is
sick.
so clutch.
He's so good. He's so good.
This is a great hold. Now drones are being made, so that's when you know this is really getting hard. Oh, another one.
Look at the force field this time.
Traps him.
Damn.
Ouch.
Hurricane's so sick.
Well,
oh, Ragnarok humiliated in that game. Wow.
A big deal for Hurricane, though, right? Round of 8 GSL Code S.
And you know what?
An outstanding achievement.
He played like a round of 8 player.
Yeah, he's playing so well right now. He played fantastically during Super Tournament, knocking out Rogue.